And now, it's time for Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. For the next 2 hours, join Pete Gray, rock cod Rick Maxa, and this week's special expert guest for fishing information, new techniques to catch more fish, and the most current scoop on what's happening in the water. Let's Talk Hookup is sponsored in part by Yamaha Outboards. Reliability starts here. By Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. And Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. Get ready for the fastest 2 hours on radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup, Pete Gray and rock cod Rick Maxa.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray, back in the Mighty 1090 studios. Rock cod Rick still down in Cabo. Just fresh back from his Royal Star trip. In the studio with me, Craig Heberer from NOAA. We're going to have a great time talking fishing here on Southern California's Sport Fishing Voice. Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
The new Shimano Torium HG is here, and you'll be able to experience this fantastic reel now at your local Shimano dealer. The new Torium is up to 30% smaller than the previous generation, but still has the same line capacity. The smaller S compact body design and one-piece die-cast aluminum frame provides more rigidity and lighter weight. Torium now has EI surface treatment and is tested up to 700 times the corrosion resistance of past models. The new Shimano Torium HG is not only better on the outside, the inside is amazing, with a cross-carbon drag providing up to 24 pounds of drag pressure from a Star Drag reel. It has a sealed roller clutch and 6.2 to 1 brass gears. The machined aluminum handle has a larger knob to make it easy to crank in the big fish. The new lightweight aluminum spool gives you better casting and control. Available in 3 sizes, the Torium HG is the next evolution in compact, rigid, and powerful saltwater Star Drag reels. Get it now at your local Shimano dealers.
I'm very excited to share my experience with the new Simrad NSS Evo 2 touchscreen chart plotter and sonar unit I just installed on my boat. I've been a Simrad electronics fan for many years and always enjoyed the ease of use and incredible technology. Last year I installed the new 4G broadband radar and could not believe the difference. So this year I upgraded to the new NSS Evo 2 and it's amazing. With an easy-to-use tablet-style interface that's fresh but familiar, the Simrad NSS Evo 2 combines a multi-touch screen with push-to-select rotary dial for precision control and speedy response. The core of any marine electronic for me is how it marks fish, and the new NSS Evo 2 with built-in Sonar Hub sounder technology, including chirp and structure scan, can't be beat. Now, the true test is whether I need to pick up the manual to figure it out. And guess what? The new Simrad gear is so easy, I didn't need it. There's a lot more to the new Simrad NSS Evo 2 system I'd like to tell you, but best to just go to your local Simrad dealer and check it out. Or see simrad-yachting.com for more details.
This is Greg Stotesbury from AFCO. For more than 55 years, the American Fishing Tackle Company has been recognized as the premier manufacturer of precision-built offshore fishing tackle. AFCO continues this tradition today with an innovative technical fishing clothing line designed and built for ultimate performance on the water. From our next-generation fishing shorts like the Tactical Camo or Stealth Shorts to our AF Block sun protection shirts like the Fish Ninja and Samurai Sun Hoodie, the entire AFCO clothing lineup is purpose-built with the latest AFTech fabrics and designed with functional features to deliver top performance for the demanding angler. Visit www.afco.com to find a dealer near you.
The summer fishing season this year was nothing short of incredible, and everyone I talked to is expecting continued success well into the fall season. Your San Diego County Ford dealers are having a remarkable summer too, with no sign of slowing down. They continue to hook people up with a great selection of models that offer outstanding MPG and advanced technology, like the fun-to-drive Focus and the popular Fusion, available as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Ford also has an impressive list of SUVs like Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Well, no matter what you need, Ford has an SUV for you. And for serious fishermen that have boats to haul and gear to move, you can't beat the Ford F-150. It's not only stronger than ever, it's 700 pounds lighter, so it's faster and more efficient. Bottom line, Ford cars and trucks and SUVs are built for San Diego. Stop by your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up. Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Pete Gray here, back in the studio after the great Cabo broadcast yesterday. And our buddy Craig Heberer is here from NOAA. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning, Pete. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite again.
Well, thank you for being here. And connecting with our listeners and our anglers here on the important work that you do, which is what? What does, first of all, explain what NOAA is and nymphs and all that kind of stuff.
Sure, be happy to. It can be confusing. So NOAA Fisheries is the name that we operate under because we're an office within the NOAA family. There's the NOAA Ocean Service, the NOAA Weather Service, and NOAA Sanctuaries. A lot of people know the National Marine Sanctuary Program. So we're all under one umbrella of NOAA. But we've been the National Marine Fisheries Service in terms of what we do in managing the nation's fisheries on the West Coast. So from the 3 miles out to 200 miles, that's known as the federal waters or the economic zone. And we manage different fisheries: tuna, billfish, shark, sardine, anchovies, salmon, ground fish, and the species that are a part of the ecosystem and the habitat. So the whales, the dolphins, the turtles, the seabirds, that's all part of the umbrella of groups and animals that we manage. So we have science centers throughout the nation, and we use science as a basis for managing the stocks. And we do that with our co-managers at California Fish and Wildlife, Oregon Fish and Wildlife, Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. And that's really part of the foundation of the fisheries that we manage.
Okay. So you are, your job is kind of overseeing the marine recreational part of it.
Correct. So I'm the West Coast Region Recreational Fisheries Coordinator. Been about a year now in the position. Prior to that, I was working with the commercial and recreational highly migratory species fisheries. That was tuna, billfish, and sharks. And I was interesting to listen to your show last week when you had Chugi Sepulveda from here, and I know you had a lot of questions come in on different fisheries in the West Coast, the interaction with commercial and rec, and I'd be more than happy if your callers have additional questions to entertain those questions as well.
That'd be good. Chugi, you work a lot with Chugi and the Flagler Institute, right?
We do. In fact, the swordfish project that he was explaining, this deep set buoy gear project, is a project Chugi and I had kind of been collaborating on for many years, and Scott Albers there at the Flagler Institute, and super excited to see how well that gear has been working. And the Pacific Council is on the verge of authorizing that gear as a new fishery on the West Coast, which is going to be really dynamic and something that doesn't happen very often, where you go from a research idea to implementing the research to testing the gear to actually then giving it as an authorized gear for the fishermen.
There are a certain number of commercial guys that have been authorized to use this deep set buoy gear.
Correct. So we've, as we carefully, step by step, tested this gear under a research platform using the Flagler research vessel. Then we now got permission from the Pacific Fishery Management Council to incorporate 4 other commercial guys that have fished and have experience with swordfish, and they're using the gear and doing really well. So they're catching swordfish with very little other bycatch of species that we were concerned about, and are trying to transition away from those types of gears that have a higher bycatch. So this will join the suite of fisheries that's catching swordfish on the West Coast right now. Hopefully by next year there'll be some action on authorizing that as a new fishery. Interesting
side note, Point Loma Seafoods had a deep set buoy gear caught swordfish. I think it's a couple weeks ago. It's kind of all a blur now with all the travel I've been doing, stuff like that. It was delicious. It was as good as harpoon fish that I've had before.
Yeah, no, and that's the feedback that we're getting from a lot of the markets and a lot of processors and clients and restaurants that are eating it. And part of the reason is that the fish is deep, and when the gear has strike indicators, so it's more of an actively tended gear. And so that's one of the keys to this. Traditional longline, for example, is you roll out miles and miles of hooks, and there's no active tending per se. So because you have to cover a lot of water in that more pelagic zone, you don't really know where the breaks or the hot spots are like we do inshore. They tend to not know when they've caught something that they really don't want to catch, and they want to release it. And by the time they get to it, it's probably either drowned or it's wrapped up, and the survivorship is lower. Where with this gear, there's a strike indicator. It's actually a lobster float that floats up to the surface that says, hey, there's something on here. And we are in the wheelhouse with binoculars and can then immediately go over and pull that up. So we've released sharks. Mostly there's a few shark bycatch, but it's been pretty clean swordfish, and we haven't had any turtles or whales or seabirds or any species of concern that we've had.
part of the permit is that they have to tend these deep set buoy gear.
Correct. So there's they spread them out about 1/10 of a mile between the individual floats. So there's 10 individual pieces of gear that drop and fish in deep with during the day, and so they'll know, and they'll come in and harvest that fish and get it on board and ice it, and it's basically, as you say, as good or better than harpoon quality.
Maybe better than harpoon quality because you're really tending to it right now. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. So if you see it in your local fish market there, and if they say it's a deep set buoy, try it. You'll be impressed.
Definitely.
Yeah, have you had it?
Oh yeah, I've had it, and the nice thing is almost like like certain Copper River salmon seasons where there's a premium paid for that product. People are starting to recognize that this is a one hook, one fish sustainable method, and so they're able to get a better price back to the fishermen. So you don't need as much volume to make your a profit on the water, and so that's another key is a bit of a lower volume but higher quality.
Yes, and as we move, we talked a lot about this in Cabo yesterday with Captain Tim Ekstrom on the Royal Star. As we move into a sustainable fishery, people are more concerned about the resource and taking better care of the fish. And this is a classic example. I mean, the quality of the fish you get off the long-range boats, the local boats now, is head and shoulders above what it used to be because people are using the resource and then they're letting the rest go. I was talking to Tim on the way to the airport yesterday about the fact that they let go a ton of fish on the boat. They had very, very good fishing on their trip on the Royal Star, which you'll hear from Ricky when he comes back next Saturday. But they let go a ton of fish just because they didn't need any more. And that's kind of the whole mindset we're trying to deliver to people. It's like, how much do you really need? How much of the resource? Let it go. Catch it another day, right?
That's a great point. And it's not only happening here on the West Coast, but throughout the United States in the fisheries. Later in the show, I'll give a little bit of some metrics about the information we have in hand on how many fish are being released. And a large proportion of those fish are being released alive and in better condition than they were a decade ago. So not only is there an ethic now building to, take what you need, take good care of your product, and for that you don't need, then practice best, safe methods of release. So that's really exciting to see that coming. And at the Fred Hall Show again this year, we'll be promoting release of rockfish using the different descender devices. As we had last year, we encourage people to come by. We'll have information on the science supporting the release. Survivorship, we'll have some videos showing how to use these devices and release them. And we have a limited supply of the release devices as well that we will be able to give out to interested captains and fishermen. Yeah,
guys that are really, truly going to use them and put them to good use. Like we are giving away a sequelizer today as part of our prize package today. This is about a $60 device. We're going to give it away today. Tell us about the sequelizer and the significance of releasing rockfish.
Yeah, so this sequelizer was developed under a program called the fishsmart.org, and it's you can people that have good ideas from the public, citizen science. If you have a great idea that you think will help a fishery or improve safe release, then there's a program, actually a competition to submit. And this was developed under this FishSmart, and it basically has 3 different depth settings that you can release your fish on. You set it, and then it has a clip. So it clips on the lip of the fish. You put it on a separate rod with a weight, and when it gets down to that depth, it automatically releases. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of releasing your fish. And so what is the benefit of releasing fish besides just doing the right thing and being an ethical angler? It's also providing additional opportunity for anglers to fish rockfish, because the Pacific Council is now taking into consideration the survivorship and the tonnage of fish that are being released alive and allowing for more quota and also to fish in deeper waters. So it's a win-win in that regard. You're doing the right thing for the resource, and you're also helping give yourself as an angler more opportunity down the road.
As a rockfish angler, you should not go fishing without some sort of a descending device, period.
I wholeheartedly support that statement, Pete.
It's not a law, right?
It's not a law, and we do not want to make it a law for the simple reason that it keeps it clean. And when we have to write a law, then there's enforcement, there's monitoring, there's follow-up. It's complex. There's a lot of work. Calico bass release ethic, for example, we didn't have to write a law telling folks that releasing big calico bass is a good idea. But that's universally adopted now in Southern California, and that's a great success story. And we're hoping that rockfish release using these devices is going to follow a similar path.
Yeah. Let's talk about calico bass, sand bass, spotted bay bass for a second. 5-fish limit. Everybody was kind of very controversial thing. Are we starting to see the effects of 14-inch size limit, 5-fish limit helping the resource?
I'm not a state biologist working on those fish. Those are inshore state fisheries, but
you're more on the outside.
Yeah, but as an angler, I know it's been tough for the boats after the implementation of the regulation to get legal fish, but I think there's a lot more fish being caught and sizes are increasing. So I think if we stay the course with this management change, I think there's going to be bright future ahead for people catching better sized calico bass.
I know this is not part of your deal, but let's talk about kelp. And you're a scientist, you understand the whole thing. The kelp has disappeared virtually on most of the coastal areas here. What's going on?
Yeah, I was in Catalina last week and saw that that virtual lack of kelp, and you can see it in some of the coastal areas. And kelp is one of these it has boom and bust cycles as a lot of species do, and because it was hit hard with storms and warmer weather this year, we have a cycle now where the kelp is not abundant or appearing. And when you dive in Catalina in the front side, I've seen these waves of small calico bass and other juvenile fish that normally will be mixed in the kelp in hiding places, and they're out in the open, tucking in on rocks and wherever they can. So not having kelp is an impact in terms of survivorship for some of these species that really need kelp for habitat and protection from predators. But it looks like there's been a pretty good recruit and a bloom. Like I say, I've seen a lot of young of the year calico bass and other fish out there. So I think with our El Nino warming that we've had, we're going to return after this El Nino, I think, to a cooler water situation, and the kelp will come back as it has. There's been years when we've had this happen before, and it's not like, oh my God, kelp's gone for 30 years. It comes back. It's very resilient.
Yeah. And how long, generally speaking, in past El Ninos did it take for that kelp forest to recover?
Jeez, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know, because there is a pretty phenomenal growth rate at kelp once it gets established. So it's all about, how it establishes in the areas that it begins to take hold. But once it does take hold, the growth rate is pretty phenomenal in kelp, and so I think within a year or two you start to see some significant.
Have a cold water event. The kelp's going to thrive in the cold water, and it's going to grow fast.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, as you can hear, we have a lot to talk about today. There is so much going on in this world we live in that relates to protecting our fisheries and the works that guys like Craig and his constituents do in NOAA. And if you want to join us, toll free is 877-792-1090, 858-457-1090. The local line is also open, and one lucky caller today is going to win a great package of prizes here. It's a 3-quarter-day trip on the San Diego from C4 Sport Fishing, along with that Sequelizer descending device. So you're going to have a great time going fishing aboard the San Diego. And if you go rockfish fishing, you can bring your Sequelizer along and help set an example and release those rockfish. Let's talk to Captain Frank Lopresti of the Royal Polaris this morning. Good morning, Frank.
Hey, good morning there, Pete. Roy just called me, and he's fairly busy, and just wanted me to give you a quick report. They've got quite a few cows. They had 3 yesterday, 2 the day before, in that 250 to 265 category. Several guys getting their personal best. They're picking away at the wahoo. They're about to start the third well. They're having a fantastic trip, and everybody is happy as can be, okay?
Yeah, and great weather, too. Just the fishing is just the light switch went on the long-range world, and it's time to go fishing, right?
I would say it's always time to go fishing, Pete. But right now, as far as the big fish biting, it's an excellent opportunity to catch a 200-pounder.
Now, speaking,
you always have that opportunity when you go to the Revilla Heberer.
Isn't that the truth, for sure. Frank, are there any opportunities to get aboard the Royal Polaris and go fishing, or the Shogun?
there's actually a few trips. There's a April 3rd Nakaki Tsuchiuchi trip on the Royal Polaris that has 2 openings. And then the April 23rd trip with Sal Vallone has, I believe, 1 opening left. And then on the Shogun, fishing with Aaron and his fabulous crew, Jack from Accurate Reels has his trip along with Seeker Rods. And I think that's around the 10th of April, but you can check it out on the website. And it's got at least 8 or 9 openings, okay?
Wow, fantastic. Frank, I know you've been heavily involved with Ken and the Sport Fishing Association of California and getting access to fisheries in Mexico. I really, yesterday in Cabo when we did the broadcast with the guys down there that really know what's going on and the people that are involved in sport fishing in Cabo, there was really a real positive reaction from the work that Ken's been doing and that you've been doing down there and the access to the Revilla-Hajedos Islands. I think we're making, from what I felt yesterday, I feel like we're really making inroads to possibly open up even more of that opportunity coming in the future.
Well, I sure hope so. It would be wonderful to be able to fish Benedicto and Socorro and Partida. And it's got to be good for us. It's got to be good for Mexico. It's got to be good for all those involved. The yachts would be able to go, and it would just be a wonderful, wonderful thing. Okay.
Yeah, it would be for sure. So stay tuned. Look at all the headway we've made with the progress of being able to fish Guadalupe Island. And
there's no doubt, Pete, that Ken Franke has done an amazing job, and he has really made inroads, and there's no reason why us and the people south of us can't work together and promote business for all of us. There's enough to go around, okay?
No doubt about it. The other thing, too, Frank, is I want to let our listeners know that the investment that you and the other boat owners are making in doing these broadcasts down in Mexico, it's not a cheap deal to do these things, to take care of some of the policies down in Mexico and stuff, but it's working. It's effective. It's doing, people may say, well, why are you going down there and promoting sport fishing in Cabo San Lucas? Well, you know why? Because it's the right thing to do, and they are partners in this, and they want access to these areas just like we do.
I agree, Pete, and it's you're 100% correct. And there's been certain obstacles before that I think are slowly being dealt with, and I think the progress is gaining momentum. I really feel very, very good, and it's very, very positive for the entire fishing industry.
No doubt about it. Well, thank you, Frank, and thanks to the other boat owners for making this these investments in keeping these fisheries as a future and possible opportunity for fishermen.
We got to do it, Pete. It's too much fun.
You bet it is. All right, so Royal Polaris, Shogun, opportunities to go catch a cow on the ultimate sport fishing fleet in the world. How do we get a hold of you, Frank?
619-226-8030, or you can go online, shogunsportfishing.com, royalpolarissportfishing.com. You can see what openings there are. You can read the current conditions. There's some beautiful pictures there of 250-pounders that were caught yesterday. So take a look, okay?
Man, makes you want to go, right, Craig?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate the report this morning.
You're welcome. Take care, Pete.
All right.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to take your phone calls. Talk more with Craig Heberer about what's going on with NOAA and all the great work that he does. You stay tuned. This is Southern California's Sport Fishing Voice. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
Bubba had a dream, Bubba had a wish.
Here's John Ireland for Rancho Leonero.
Rancho Leonero is very family-oriented. People have brought their children down, and now they're bringing their children. It's not unusual to have 3 generations of family at the hotel. Grandpa, Dad, and normally sons, sometimes daughters. The families come back year after year, and it's a safe place for the kids. It's small, it's intimate, right on the water, 2 miles of beachfront. The water's very shallow in front. There's no currents to speak of, no waves. We have childcare, $10 a day for a babysitter. Security is high at Rancho Leonero. It's really unnecessary, but it adds up comfort level. And we really do encourage the families. It's a great place for family reunions, family get-togethers, weddings. We do it all. 1-800-646-2252. 646-BAJA. And RanchoLanero.com. There's nowhere that I could think of to have the same atmosphere and the same experience that you get at Rancho Lanero. We love families.
My angler H2O. Like the mighty flounder, I will keep one eye on the pole and the other watching for rogue waves. I'll save water by taking shorter showers and enthusiastically celebrate Talk Like a Pirate Day. I will chat up the locals before launching in unfamiliar waters. And I will always, always wear my life jacket.
What's your H2O? Tell us at BoatCalifornia.com. The California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways reminds you to wear it, California.
Have you ever imagined casting a fly or a lure on one of the most beautiful and productive rivers in Alaska? At Katmai Lodge, you can catch up to all 5 species of Pacific salmon. The king, sockeye, chump, pink, and silver salmon, along with rainbow trout, Arctic grayling, dolly varden, and other native stream fish. When anglers dream of trophy salmon and trout, the Alagnak River is their destination, and Katmai Lodge is the premier base camp. Being the original river-based lodge on the Alagnak gives the facility a leg up on the competition. Both experienced and novice anglers have rated Katmai Lodge and its knowledgeable guides as the best of the best. Katmai Lodge is remote, yet offers all the amenities of a first-class lodge. During your Alaska visit, you'll see amazing wildlife, brown bears, caribou, eagles, moose, otters, and much more. Schedule a day trip on their private de Havilland Otter Float Plane and visit the world-famous Brooks Falls. Book online at katmai.com or call 1-800-330-0326. That's katmai.com or call 1-800-330-0326 for the fishing adventure of a lifetime.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know: CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Pete Gray here along with Craig Heberer from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the federal government that oversees us on our offshore fisheries, shall we say, and especially the fisheries that we like, the pelagic species, the rockfish, all that good stuff there. We're giving away a sequelizer, which is the ultimate descending device. This is a pretty technical device and not a cheap device at all. Works very, very well, along with a 3/4-day trip on the San Diego. You want to get through, here's your chance. Adam's manning the phones today. Ryan took a day off today, so Adam is not only running the board, he's manning the phones, so be nice to Adam. It's 858-457-1090 or 877-792-1090. Let's start things off here with Bill. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. I had a question. I go half-day boat, 3/4-day boat. That's basically what I do in San Diego. And I went like 5 times this past year, and that really upsets me when I see lots of rockfish floating on the surface because I don't see anything eating them. Now, are these boats mandated by law in any way, shape, or form to have one of these devices aboard? Because I have tried to talk to the deck crews about, I don't know the name of the device. You said it's an equalizer?
Yeah, well, first, let me jump in. Thanks for the question, and appreciate the on-the-water perspective there. What the device name is the Sequelizer, and it's one of several devices. There's also a San Diego company, Terry and Randy Hupp, who put together another device called the Equalizer. That's a little cheaper and a little bit easier to use depending on the size of the fish and the vessel. So there's several devices out there. When you come to the Fred Hall in Long Beach, we'll have all the devices on display and can show you some of the science and use behind it. I know that Ken Franke at the association has been working very hard to not only get devices into the hands of all the boat skippers and crews, but having some discussion on how to use them and the value of using them. So I think that the use is starting to increase on the boats. There's still going to be several boats that haven't joined the party. Again, we don't really want to regulate at this point. We're hoping that the majority of the momentum that's been established will carry over to other folks. But as an angler on that boat, I think it's also good for you to express your opinion to the captain. Let him know and the crew that you would hope that those fish will be descended using proper techniques. And if you feel that that's not being used, then there's other boats that are using the gear, and your choice as an angler is to choose a boat that's using that gear effectively, and you say volumes with your purchasing power as well.
To me, it is irresponsible of a captain, boat owner, to not use a descending advice when they're fishing rockfish. Would you agree with that?
I would, but I would also stress that I think, thanks to Ken and to the outreach that California Fish and Wildlife has been doing, we've been doing, Sport Fishing Association, I think that there's less and less of these kind of boats that aren't doing the right thing. I think the majority of the boats are joining the effort, and I hope this next year is a bigger push to get everybody involved.
Here's the deal with it. There has been already progress with better opportunities for rock fishing, deeper water, better areas, because of these descending devices. So, number one, they're working. Number one, it's opening new opportunities for recreational anglers to go fishing. So use them, right? That's the message.
Exactly, and I think they're getting... we have videos at our booth, and there's videos online that show you how to use them. I think there's a misconception that they're difficult and they're time-consuming. If you set up an independent rod and reel with a weight system and a device, a descending device on it, it's pretty quick to clip in that fish, send it down, bring it back up, and you're back to the rack fishing again. And there's also devices that can release fish in batches, and I think some of the research now is to find a device that's a little more friendly for the crew to use when you're on a rockfish targeted trip where you may have dozens and dozens of fish coming up that you want to send back. It's not practical to go one by one, but there are methods such as using crates and big basket devices. So I think in the future you're going to see that there'll be some better devices, and then that again will remove any final pretext for not using something if you have a device that's a bit more effective for these batch releases.
Absolutely. How deep should you go? Let's say you're fishing 200 feet of water. How deep should you go with that fish?
We always recommend to try to go back down to the area that you actually captured the fish, but if the Sequelizer has 3 settings, 50, 100, and 150, I think that, that if you can get the fish down deeper, the better that is going to be for recompression. But there's also a deeper model Sequelizer for those folks that are fishing real deep, and you can get down below 200 and further in depth with this deeper Sequelizer model. But I think if you get down to 100 and below that, you're actually getting to the point where these fish now have recompressed and their survivorship is going to go up.
And they're going to go down. Yeah, that's the key, is to get them to pointing down and being able to go back down to the depth.
And another element that we're starting to see is with the recovery of black sea bass populations, for example, a lot of people have opportunities to catch and release black sea bass, and so there have been questions about, will these devices work on big fish such as black sea bass? And they will, but you have to use obviously more weight. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is, a lot of times on these smaller size black sea bass, if you just let them on this, recover on the surface for a little bit and use the back end, the non-hook end of a gaff to kind of depress them and push them underwater, a lot of these black sea bass will go down on their own, unless, of course, you catch a toad and it's totally, has a lot of gas and it's a floater. Then I think using a device with more weight is going to be a better idea.
Yeah, can you put as much weight as needed on the Sequelizer?
You can.
You can.
Yeah.
So if it's a big black sea bass, you want to put 15 pounds of weight on there, you can.
Yeah, the only thing that is the limiting factor is that release. If there is a super heavy fish, then that release tension that's on the clip on the lip may come off prematurely, but I think it's still going to get that fish somewhere down in the water column where it has a better chance.
Black sea bass, is that managed by NOAA?
No, it is not. That's a California state fishery. But just like a lot of other species that span federal and state waters, we have joint enforcement, joint management. So our enforcement folks are also authorizing and enforcing those black sea bass provisions as well.
There's been talk about the possibility someday of a black sea bass tag, raising money for future fisheries and such like that, like a buck tag or a elk tag or something like that. Do you ever see that happening?
I haven't really been following much of that conversation, but I'm an advocate of that if it's properly done and it raises funds and you're not impacting the trajectory of recovery. You see it in terrestrial management programs all the time. And as we know, fishermen and hunters are the ones that support probably disproportionately than any other group, raising funds to support our fisheries and our hunting opportunities.
All right, very good. Hey, good question. Thanks a lot for getting us started. Thanks a lot for the call this morning. All right, his report is delayed a day, but we have the cast man, Richard Castaneda from Cast Tours, and this report is sponsored in part by Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. It's long-range season. Time to pre-book your processing orders with Fisherman's Processing. You're going out fishing on the Royal Polaris or the Shogun or the Royal Star or any of the long-range boats. Pre-book that, and you'll be first in line out the door with the finest product you could possibly imagine from Fisherman's Processing. So check Fisherman's Processing for details, fishermansprocessing.com, or just give a call to Sean and Rosie and ask them about getting your order ready to go and before you get on your trip there. Thanks a lot for that, and we'll talk to the cast man, Richard Castaneda from Cast Tours. Buenos dias, cast man.
Hey, welcome back, Pedro. Hope you had a great trip on the Journeyman, and hope your trip to Cabo was profitable. I shouldn't say profitable, but eventful, and you got some things done down there.
Indeed, for sure. All of the above.
Anyway, since you were in Cabo, let's start off with there. The fishing Cabo is pretty good right now. The Dorado, which like we talked about a few months ago, they were overfished. The longliners came in, and it was all kinds of stuff, and they just didn't like the warm water. They just weren't hanging around. Once that water cooled, they came back in, and it's just about limits of Dorado for all the boats down there, and they're pretty good grade fish, anywhere 20 to 25-pound fish, so some nice quality Dorado. The Wahoo bites still going on, mostly up in the Sea of Cortez there, inside the Iman Bank there, weather permitting, because this time of year the north winds start to blow in the Sea of Cortez, but they are scratching a few right now. It's not like it had been. It did slow, but they're still getting Wahoo. Yellowfin tuna, excuse me. Yellowfin tuna at the Inner Gordo and the Outer Gordo Bank, getting a good grade of fish, 80 to 100 pounds. Not a lot, but guys that are going out there and targeting them are having the success. For more quantity, you want to go up into the Iman there. Nice fish, 15 to 40-pound fish. Just about limits every day on those type of fish. Primarily, if you got some of that cut squid, the big squid chunks is working real well there. As well as sardinas, a few guys getting them on the iron. Over in Mazatlan there, the sailfish bite primarily, not quite a one per boat average there, but the sailfish are going off there. They are getting a few Dorado in the mix, and of course the real hot spot right now for billfish is down at Ixtapa Zihuatanejo. This is a great winter fishery. Guys who want to get away during the winter and get down there and get some of that beautiful mid-80s, clear skies, flat seas type weather. That's the destination in Mexico. Sailfish there, just about a 2 to 3 per boat average per day on the releases there, really close to the harbor. Guys that are actually go out in the morning, target roosters along the surf line, and then just shoot out about a mile and you're into the sailfish. So it's really, really close to the harbor there. Good sailfish bite there, and they are starting to get a better Dorado bite there. Not quite a limits per day per boat there, but they are getting there. And the grade there, that 20 to 25-pound grade. So some great fishing there. Pete, just one more announcement as far as our Christmas Island trip. We're down to 2 spots now that we have available. Anybody who wants to join us on that trip can give me a call at 800-593-6510. And by the way, the dates for that trip are May 17 to 24, and it'll be another fabulous trip to the island there.
Oh, it's going to be great. I know Chris and Mark from the Eclipse and Commander are going with you. They are so excited. And I was telling people about this while I was telling some guys about when I was on the Journeyman about that trip and what an amazing experience it is for anglers. So if you want something that's truly amazing, check out Christmas Island with Castman. It's really
yep.
Good.
It's my top 2 trips. Yep. Panama and Christmas Island.
Yep.
Those are the ones that I look forward to every year.
Yep, love them both.
Anyway,
for sure. Hey, yep. Castman, appreciate that report, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
You got it, man.
All right. Thanks very much for that. And tell you what, there's still a line open. If you want to get through, have a question for Craig, 858-457-1090, a line open there, or 877-792-1090, open right now. Let's go ahead and jump back in the phones and talk to Wyatt calling us from Long Beach. Hi, Wyatt. Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk Hookup.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a two-part question.
Okay.
I was wondering how the sequelizer works, and is it hard to work?
Good question.
Okay. Thanks, Wyatt. Appreciate the question and the call in this morning. So the sequelizer works in the following fashion. You have a fish that you've brought up that you want to release. It's either too small or it's over the bag limits at that point. So you take out this device and hopefully have it tied to a separate line on a rod and reel, not the one that you're principally using, and then there'll be a weight on the end of the line, and then the sequelizer actually clips on between the weight and the tip of the rod on the line. And it has a set of jaws that open up, and you push a button, and those jaws clamp down on the lip of the fish. And then all you do is walk over to the side of the boat. You have your weight in one hand, your rod and reel in the other, and you lift that fish over the rail, and you drop that weight and fish in the water with your free spool on your reel, and down it goes. And you basically, just like you're going to the bottom to catch a rockfish, you let that weight go down with the fish attached. And then when you get to the depth that you have set on the sequelizer, there's a little device that you can set 50, 100, or 150-foot release depth. And those jaws that are gripping onto the lip of that fish will automatically open, and that fish will swim away at that point.
How does it know? How does it know that it's 50 feet?
It's got a beautiful little spring detection system in there that basically gets a pressure. When it reaches that pressure, the spring pops open.
All right. Very good. And an opportunity, Wyatt, if you don't win the one that we're giving away today, you'll have an opportunity at Fred Hall, Long Beach, and Del Mar, right? Craig?
Yes, we're going to have our booth like we did last year. And Wyatt, if you're in the area, either in Del Mar or Long Beach, I'd love to meet you and talk some more about this device. Come on in and
teach you how to use it, and he might even give you one.
If you don't win one today, I'm going to put one aside with your name on it for the show, okay?
How about that?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that very much. That does free up. Toll free, 877-792-1090. Open right now. Kenny in UTC, good morning. Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk Hookup.
Yeah, good morning. I got a couple things. One thing I wanted to ask was how they're doing on that northern run of Albacore this year. Have they been getting some fish up there?
Yeah, the commercial guys had done good. It was, I believe, a similar season as they've had the past two seasons, and that's where the bulk of that fish has been migrated up to. As you know, we haven't seen albacore down here in many years, and it's not because albacore is overfished and there's no albacore left. It's just the oceanographic conditions and the patterns have shifted that fishery to the north, has been happening many, many times, and we're hoping that shift will come back our way as a good post-Nino Christmas present for anglers down here. Let's hope that we see albacore in the future. There has been some indications that after strong El Niños that there can be a return to the conditions that are favorable for albacore in our Southern California area. So I'm not making any predictions, just telling you. No. But I do remember speaking with Frank and his wife on board of one of the Friends of Rollo trip, Frank Lepresti, and we were talking about this very topic.
Yeah.
And Frank, as you know, has a long-term institutional memory and history in this fishery, and he told me he remembers 1 or 2 year lags usually after El Niños to where the albacore fishing picked up and was good again. So I'll that's as far as I go as a speculation is using Frank.
All right, I'm going to give a little more to that. We have an abundance of anchovy, which we haven't seen in a long time. Probably the last time was a good albacore run. Does that have anything to do with it?
Absolutely. There's definitely a correlation with that prey species. But again, we have some really interesting patterns happening right now with this, what we call the warm water blob that was from Alaska all the way down to Southern California. Prior to the El Nino conditions set up, we've had this blob, and it's led to higher incidence of marine diatom growth, which has led to this domoic acid situation that we have now where we have the Dungeness crab fishery basically on hold until those levels subside. So it's a little bit different than the past El Niños because of this, this blob that we've had. And to be honest, we've had some climate change issues that we look at in our science and our management. You know, we've had species that their distribution has been shifting based on weather patterns, and so it's a little bit more difficult now to look at the past to predict the future. We're in kind of a zone that's it's very challenging and exciting in some ways for us in the science field, but we're having to use new tools and collect new information to upgrade our modeling effects because of things like this warm water blob and climate change.
Yeah, indeed. So climate change is real.
In Paris, they say it is.
Okay. Hey, thanks a lot for the call this morning. And when we come back, we're going to take more of your phone calls, find out what's biting out there, get a catch report. You stay tuned. We've got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California's sport fishing voice on the Mighty 1090.
Inland Boat Center is the destination for your next boat. They've been around 35 years, so they're here to stay with something for everyone. Inland Boat Center has a giant inventory of all types of boats, including the perfect saltwater fishing boats made by Arima and Defiance. Inland Boat Center has a huge 2.5-acre indoor showroom with over 300 new and pre-owned boats, making them the largest boat store on the West Coast. Family-owned and operated, they are proud of their customer service. They take trades of all types. Come check out their inventory of Defiance boats from 20 to 29 feet, or the fantastic selection of the amazing Arima boats from 17 to 21 feet. Inland Boat Center has a full service department, fiberglass repair and upholstery department. Everything you need is under one roof at Inland Boat Center, 681 East San Jacinto in Paris. Check the website for the current inventory and more at inlandboatcenter.com. For over 5 decades, Lee Palm Sport Fishing has set the standard in long-range fishing that they pioneered long ago. The Red Rooster 3 sets a new standard of excellence. The Red Rooster 3 is one of the most modern, quiet, and fastest long-range vessels in the fleet. They have handpicked the finest crew to make your trip a memorable one. The Red Rooster 3 offers trips from 3 to 18 days and runs year-round to the best fishing spots on the planet. Ride the Red Rooster 3 once, and you'll be back again. Call the Red Rooster 3 at 619-224-3857 or see them on the web at redrooster3.com.
Time to talk about great equipment from Shimano, and one thing I want to talk about is that Torium HG. It's new, it's amazing, and it's at a price point that is very affordable, and it should be in your arsenal, no doubt. It's 30% smaller than the previous generation of Toriums, but has the same line capacity. The small S body, on compact body, die-cast aluminum frame. It makes it more rigid, and it's lighter in weight. It has an EI surface treatment that's tested 700 times better in corrosion resistance. So that reel is going to last. You make the investment in the Shimano Torium HG, this is going to be a star drag reel that'll last you for years and years and years. Brass gears, 6.2 to 1 gear ratio. It's an amazing reel, and if you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. The Torium HG by Shimano at your local Shimano dealer.
Cast Tours is a family-owned and operated travel company that specializes in taking you to great fishing destinations. They take pride in providing the best and most affordable vacation packages available. For over 20 years, Cast Tours has been creating unique sport fishing and vacation trips. Whether it's a fishing trip, a family vacation, or an adventure, they will provide you the service and value you deserve. Call Cast Tours at 800-593-6510 or check casttours.com.
Great boats, free parking, and a fully stocked tackle shop. Just a few of the reasons Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top charter boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Eclipse, Apollo, Outer Limits, Pacific Star, El Gato Dos, Alexis, Pride, Privateer, Tribute, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch in San Diego offer the finest half, 3/4, and full-day trips available. Check out the full-service tackle store at Seaforth Sport Fishing. And it's all run by fishermen for fishermen. 1717 Quivira Road, just off Mission Bay Drive in Mission Bay. Book online at seaforthlanding.com.
SFRS 1090 AM, Rosarito, Baja California.
You are listening to the home of the Aztecs.
Quick sack slam dunk, that's what I'm talking about.
San Diego's sports leader, the Mighty 1090.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090. Pete Gray here, along with Mr. Craig Heberer from NOAA, talking fishing, giving away a 3/4 day trip on the San Diego from Seaforth Sport Fishing, and a Sequelizer, the finest of the descending devices, so you can descend those rockfish, take it with you on your trip to on the San Diego, and make an example. Show the people that you're releasing those rockfish and doing the right thing for our future fishery. All right, speaking of doing the right thing, let's go find out what's biting up at Dana Wharf Sport Fishing and Beyond. The Catch Report today, sponsored in part by Dana Landing on Mission Bay, your one-stop shop for everything you need to go fishing. Complete saltwater tackle shop, full deli, 6-pack charter boats, including the new Blackjack, the perfect 4-pack, and, of course, we talked about it, the Impulse, that we just absolutely whacked the tuna last week aboard the Impulse. And if you're into freshwater fishing, East County Bait and Tackle is an amazing place. They're bigger and better than ever. Freshwater tackle and live bait for that great day on the lake. Dana Landing, right across from SeaWorld, next to the Dana Launch in Mission Bay, and East County Bait and Tackle is at the end of the 67 freeway at Maple View in Lakeside. Check DanaLanding.com for more details, and let's talk to Captain Brian Woolley at Dana Wharf Sport Fishing. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey, doing great. What's happening?
Good, good. Well, a bit of a different week up here for us. We kind of started the week with some real good sign in that deep water yellowtail. And we saw good schools of fish, kind of in the right places with good feed to keep it around. But, it didn't really want to bite at the beginning of the week. And we kind of, got through the week a little bit. And as it played out, things in that zone kind of changed around a little bit. And we weren't, we started up not seeing the bait in that little area. And that in turn meant we started seeing less and less of that fish. So kind of a case of some missing fish or hard bottom. So not quite sure what to call it on that yellowtail front. I don't know if it, pressure change or what. Stuff moved around a little bit, but certainly, we'll be back in that area multiple days this next week and see if we can't relocate that stuff. So in the meantime, we've been kind of pushed back to rockfish mode for the 3/4 day stuff until we can, get back on track with that yellowtail. Still some good rockfish to be had down on, that Box Canyon, Deepwater, San Onofre area. Some good reds, some nice grouper, kind of making it their way into the bags there for the 3/4 day guys. And, let me just plug that Sequelizer. We have 2 of those on the boat, and I know all the boats in our fleet have those things, and we use them they work, they work every single time. You don't have to worry about those descending devices not working on you. That Sequelizer for sure is the way to go. But on the half-day stuff close to home, it's still been great fishing for December. Great surface bite on the fly line sardine or the anchovy. I know it's crazy. We're talking fly line, calico bass in, mid-December. But obviously we had a day or two this week where the weather impacted our efforts, made things a little bit tough. But amazingly, even after that super wind on Friday, the water along the kelp is still in the 63-degree range. And, the kelp bass and sand bass have really been cooperating, making it fun for the half-day guys. So that's kind of a quick recap of what we have going on this week. I don't think we had a halibut boat out this week to get some more of those fish on that Dana Wharf halibut derby leaderboard. But certainly we'll hopefully see some of that stuff pick up here as well as the weather hopefully stays good for us a day or two here this next week. So kind of a reboot to start the week, and, we can get back on track. So if you guys want to hop on a trip with us, if you're looking for something to do this afternoon with some kids and whatnot, we have our afternoon half-day trip where the kids fish for free with a paid adult. Call the landing. They'd love to get you out on a boat or get a reservation for a trip this week. The phone number there is 949-496-5794. Of course, you can check us out on the web at danawharf.com, and then you can definitely get the code there on the Let's Talk Hookup website and run on over and save you 25% on the local trip.
Heck of a deal there at Dana Wharf Sport Fishing on our website, hookup1090.com, right on the front page. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that very much. Talk to you next week.
Alrighty. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
All right. Gundy Gunderson, surf guru. Now, Gundy, not sure if you heard the show yesterday, but Gary Graham was talking about catching Dorado from the surf in Cabo. How about that, huh? What do you think of that deal?
Yeah, that's the place you want to be for that inshore stuff. John's place, too, is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
For fishing,
yeah. Yeah. Cast from the beach and catch a whopper.
Well, we had that wind coming on, but, we talked about it last week. We still have some good things happening. Overall, tough conditions finishing off the week. The big swell and the wind event on Friday kind of wiped things out over the weekend. The Uptown guys had to cancel their derby yesterday. And I think we got a little more low pressure rolling through Monday, Tuesday or something. But after that, I think things straightening out. But prior to the weather, there were some promising developments. Of course, that striper bite, that was very interesting last week. And there was a couple fish caught again the first part of the week there in the Long Beach area. The perch bite is also gaining legs, with hook, line, and sinker reporting a good bite on 12 to 14-inch perch, with some 16-inch fish in the early part of the week, and that's pushing 2 pounds, and that's what we like to see there in the late season. Halibut bite was also on the upswing, lots of fish moving shallow. Big Fish reported one of their shop regulars had 20 halibut, all short, but on a smell pattern flash minnow, so that's a lot of fish lying in shallow. 20 fish in one little session. Hogan's reported the guys are soaking cut sardines over the cobblestones off Cottons and San Onofre. That's kind of a lightly fished area, but sand patches amongst those rocks hold that halibut. And then Pacific Coast also reported legal halibut taken on live smelt in the lagoons there. So, improving perch bite, much improved halibut bite, and probably some of the best halibut fishing in the surf we've seen all summer, So look for the swell to kind of carve up the beach. And I would say we'll get new contours, some new holes and stuff, and we'll get some new habitat to fish. And I imagine it'll perk right back up, Pete, at the end of the week. And, one last thing. Last week up there in Malibu, they had some corbina taken, a fish, I think a 3-pound fish was a big fish. But we called that earlier, Pete. We'd see a corbina caught in December, and so there it is.
Yeah, no
nice
kidding,
way to
Gundy.
finish up a fantastic year.
Heck yeah, man. All right, Surf Guru Gundy Gunderson, thanks a lot for that great report.
All right, gentlemen, happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Appreciate that very much. Let's go ahead and jump back into the phones. You want to get through, here's your chance. 858-457-1090, a line open right there. John in Costa Mesa, you're next up on Let's Talk Hookup. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Craig and Pete. Thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for joining us.
Craig, my question is regarding your deep set gear and the efforts that you've taken, and along with Chugi, to create this system there for the commercial fishermen. Is this, or do you feel comfortable about discussing this as a recreational use on fishing? And if you don't mind, can you give us a breakdown on how the setup is, the rigging, the hook sizes, a style of hook, how much lead do you need? And another couple other questions there regarding, is it a contour area that you're working, or is it a temperature break? And to cover it even further, the depth and the tides and the time of day, all those things that a recreational person could use to help offset some of his costs for out trolling, and gives him a chance to fish for these bigger fish without having to spend all day long just out in the ocean. You got a chance just to target a particular area.
Good questions there, John.
Yeah, thanks, John. I appreciate those questions. Let me try to address them one by one. Let me start by saying that this deeper set gear fishery and philosophy is already open for rec fishermen in Southern California. There's no restriction in terms of fishing deep during the day for swordfish.
But it must be done with rod and reel, right?
But rod and reel, exactly. And it's but what we're doing, John, in a commercial research application and now test fishing is having floating buoys that have vertical long lines underneath them, and they're typically fishing very deep during the day, as you mentioned. That's why we call it the deep set gear.
Like how deep?
300 meters, up to 1,000 feet deep in that zone. And so typically they're down there with big baits, big hooks, and they're fishing in that area where very few species live besides swordfish and big-eye thresher sharks and squid, Humboldt squid. So it's been the success of getting that gear below that upper 100 meters where you have more of your marine mammals and turtles and things that we don't want to interact. As far as the specifics of rigging and catching, I don't really think we have enough time to get into that on the show here, but if you come to either Long Beach or Fred Hall and find us at the NOAA booth, be happy to talk to you a little bit more about that, or give Chugi a call at the pier office. He's always willing to talk with folks about it, and him and his staff have obviously been the lead in putting this together and researching this gear, along with NOAA Fisheries supporting some of the research and test fishing. So
I'm sure they're figuring it out for the recreational angler as well as these deep set guys of how to actually catch a swordfish in deep water in Southern California.
Yeah, and they're they've been fishing swordfish with rod and reel, and in Texas and a lot of other Gulf states very successfully. So there's a wealth of information on the internet already about those techniques. Very few folks, I think, have been targeting swordfish deep during the day with recreational gear here, but it's based on the success that we've been having. They're out there.
They're there. Time of the year?
At this point, we've been fishing it during the swordfish season. So when typically you get into midsummer, early summer, rolling around all the way through the end of January is when swordfish season typically ends here, and the fish typically move west.
Still going.
Yeah, but with these conditions that we have, it's kind of an unknown as to when the swordfish might leave and move west. And right now, the test fishing has been pretty good. So these deep set buoy gear swordfish are in the market right now, and I know the fish market restaurants in Del Mar and San Diego have products. Santa Monica Seafood up in
Point Loma Seafood had it.
Seafood, and there's a nice brochures that they're handing out explaining how the gear works. And if anyone has any additional information they'd like, either call the Flagler office or they can call me at NOAA Fisheries as well, and we'll be happy to talk with them.
There you go. Thanks a lot for the phone call this morning. And when we come back, more of your phone calls, more of the Mr. Craig Heberer. I'll call him Captain Craig Heberer because he's just like a captain. Stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Mighty 1090.
Tell him I'm sick. Information is the key to success, and inside information is even better. When it comes to fishing, inside information is critical, and that's what FishDope.com delivers. FishDope.com really does help you catch more fish and save fuel. FishDope.com is the only SST service with a satellite oceanographic PhD on board. The only fish fighting service with a spotter plane. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Martin Island, 365 days a year. FishDope.com boasts the largest code group anywhere, covering sport boats, commercial boats, and private boaters. FishDope.com has online planning tools, moon phase, tides, hot bite icons, and more. What I'm telling you is, if you don't have FishDope.com, well, good luck. Membership costs less than 40 gallons of gas for the entire year. That's right, 1 year. What a bargain. Plus, stay tuned for the special code to save $20 on a FishDope.com membership. Check it out today. FishDope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. Many years ago, Baja pioneer Bob Van Wormer found the area he called the Great Fish Trap in the East Cape of southern Baja and built what is now regarded as the premier East Cape resorts of Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Today, following in their father's footsteps, Bob's sons, Bobby, Chucky, and Eddie, have taken Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol to new levels. With the largest sport fishing fleet in Mexico, a luxurious spa, and top-of-the-line resort amenities, Van Wormer Resorts have become a destination for travelers worldwide. But for us, Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol are just a short 2-hour flight away. No other tropical fishing destination offers the experience and value that you'll find at Palmas de Cortez and Playa del Sol. Now you can plan your Baja fishing vacation quick and easy by visiting VanWormerResorts.com. And when you're ready to book, it's quick and easy. Or simply call 877-777-TUNA for more information. Van Wormer Resorts, the East Cape's finest. What a tuna and yellowtail season last year. Many say the best in 30 years. Could this season be even better? Don't be caught without the right gear. Now is the time to stock up on the trolling lure that proved to be the best. X-Rap Magnum by Rapala. Every X-Rap Magnum runs perfect right out of the box. They all have extreme action and a controlled deep diving aggressive swimming motion. The large diving lip partners with premium VMC hooks and an irresistible rattle. The X-Rap Magnum by Rapala can be trolled at high speeds without rolling or kicking out at depths to 15 feet. Bottom line, the X-Rap Magnum is the ultimate trolling lure for Southern California and Baja saltwater fishing. With a textured translucent body, internal holographic foil, and 3D holographic eye, X-Rap Magnums are irresistible to saltwater game fish. Available in a variety of colors and sizes. No matter what you choose, the fish can't resist X-Rap Magnum by Rapala. Ask your local tackle dealer which is the hottest color and size and start catching more fish. See the entire line at Rapala.com.
XEPRS 1090 AM Rosarito, Baja California.
The best NFL coverage is right here.
Inside the pylon for a touchdown.
San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Alaska is one of the ultimate fishing destinations in the world. This is Rock Cod Rick, and every year the one trip I look forward to is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. My dad and I have been going for over 15 years, and I just can't wait to go again. No one does it better than Kingfisher Charters. They offer the best service, the most comfortable accommodations, fantastic food, the finest fishing charter captains in all of Sitka, and the ultimate value. Sure, I've been to others, but time and time again, nobody beats Kingfisher Charters. You can catch huge halibut like the ones we do almost every year, and salmon, well, Sitka is famous for some of the best runs in Alaska. We also get plenty of rockfish and huge lingcod. And when it comes to fish processing, the best in Alaska is Kingfisher Charters. And listen to this, it's all included in your package. In fact, everything is included except the tips. It's truly amazing how the Kingfisher crew continues the quality of service they deliver year after year. Come and join me on the Let's Talk Hookup trip in June, or just go when you can. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136, or check kingfishercharters.com.
Happy holidays from Fisherman's Landing Tackle. This is Doug Kern. Be sure to get that saltwater angler on your list what they really want. A gift from Fisherman's Landing Tackle and Shimano. We have the best Shimano has to offer, including Talica, Trinidad A, Therese, Stella, Saragossa, Tranks, Terramar, Waxwing, Cold Sniper, Butterfly, Torium, Tiagra, and too much more from Shimano to mention. Bottom line, we have the most complete selection of Shimano saltwater tackle and the knowledge to help you pick out the perfect gift. Check out our web specials and much more at saltwatertackle.com, or come by and see us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. Fisherman's Landing has been the choice of sport fishing anglers for decades, with the largest fleet of long-range boats worldwide, complemented by Southern California's finest charter and open party fleet. From a half-day trip on the Dolphin to overnight trips or a long-range adventure, you can count on Fisherman's Landing to deliver the best. Check the website for all that is going on, or call Fisherman's Landing at 619-221-8500. Book now at fishermanslanding.com.
The summer fishing season this year was nothing short of incredible, and everyone I talked to is expecting continued success well into the fall season. Your San Diego County Ford dealers are having a remarkable summer too, with no sign of slowing down. They continue to hook people up with a great selection of models that offer outstanding MPG and advanced technology, like the fun-to-drive Focus and the popular Fusion, available as a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. Ford also has an impressive list of SUVs, like Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Well, no matter what you need, Ford has an SUV for you. And for serious fishermen that have boats to haul and gear to move, you can't beat the Ford F-150. It's not only stronger than ever, it's 700 pounds lighter, so it's faster and more efficient. Bottom line, Ford cars and trucks and SUVs are built for San Diego. Stop by your San Diego County Ford dealer today. They'll be glad to hook you up.